is senior writer for the Daily News, Andy Martino. He joins us on the phone right now. Andy, how surprising is this move to you?
Well, Jonas, I'm surprised in the sense that there hadn't been a ton of buzz around Tebow and the Mets. I mean, we knew the Mets attended the workout, so it's not as if there was nothing there. But in terms of Sandy and that instant reaction, I know that a lot of people understandably have about how he seems to be more conservative than that, to do these kind of big splash things. You know, I think that knowing Sandy over the years, there's also a wild card factor there where he understands the outside the box when appropriate can be an interesting thing to do. I'd heard that he was interested in signing Michael Jordan way back in the 90s when Sandy was with Oakland, and then that didn't work out. Jordan signed with the White Sox, of course. And just he's a guy who can surprise you sometimes. I mean, not that this is totally relevant, but you remember when he popped up on Twitter all of a sudden, sort of taking jabs at the Mets organization. He's just a guy who can be a little more outside the box or mischievous than it would initially seem.
Now, the other question that people are bringing up already is, do the Mets really think that there is any form of future in baseball for Tim Tebow? Did they see something in what many had described as sort of a nondescript workout where he showed some skills, but there's still a lot of questions of whether he can play. Mets really think there's something there?
Well, Jonas, let's strip away the fact that he's Tim Tebow for a moment, and let's realize or remind ourselves he's a 29-year-old who's just starting in professional baseball. If you're 25 and you're in Double-A, you're a washout. That's just the cold hard reality of what it takes to develop as a baseball player. And maybe if we'd heard scouts come out of that workout just raving about him as some incredible talent, we would be thinking of this a little differently. But obviously, it's going to be a long road for Tebow, as it would for anybody at that age coming into. To be in a 29 instructional league, I mean, really, it's like entering a normal workplace at 60. It's really, 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 really advanced age for that level of baseball. So, no, it'd be interesting to hear what they say on the conference call, but it's very hard to imagine Tim Tebow becoming a Major League Baseball player given the age at which he's starting.
So, Andy, if that's the case, and that what you said is perfectly reasonable, is the point here only publicity, a little draw in the minor leagues? What's the point here then?
Well, again, I'm very interested in what Sandy says, Jonas, but I would venture to guess that a connection could be made with Russell Wilson being in Texas Rangers camp in spring training 2 years ago. It wasn't as if he was going to play for the Rangers, but John Daniels, GM of the Rangers, felt that he'd be a positive presence. He could speak to a lot of things, getting publicity on a level at which even Wilmer Flores couldn't imagine. I mean, really, the Tebow mania is on its own level. Tebow's somebody who, whether you agree or not with his politics, has been somebody who seems to have handled himself with some class and grace as he's gone through his athletic career. Maybe that could be something that he could rub off on some kids. I mean, instructional leagues really, really young kids. So maybe they feel that Tebow would be a positive presence around him. Obviously, there's a revenue opportunity here with jerseys and minor league attendance. So beyond that, I don't know where it could go, but considering it's a no-risk venture, those payoffs alone would be worth it, I suppose.
Andy, there's also a link with terms of his agents that a lot of people have brought up. Other big-time players who, of course, of interest to the Mets. You want to Cespedes one. I mean, there are people, similar. The agent represents many different players. A lot of people have made this link that because of who Tebow's agent is, this makes some sense for the Mets. What's your take?
I guess I would be hesitant with that one. I mean, it is true, and I guess, they're talking to Brody bandwagoned so about this, so, maybe the Cespedes situation comes up. But this Jonas Cespedes, of course, is going to be the biggest free agent this winter. He'll make a decision, and they'll make a decision for him based on money and years and where he wants to play. That I can't imagine once they get going with that negotiation that the Tebow situation would weigh on it.
Another thing that's been brought up by a lot of Mets fans is they're obviously on this great run right now, a run spearheaded by some unlikely sources. It's been a wonderful run for Met fans to watch, for the Mets themselves to go through. There is a thought that this could be a distraction in some way to the big league ball club. You have been in that locker room for at clubhouse many a year as a beat writer and then as a columnist. Does this sort of thing, could this be a distraction, or is this the sort of thing where players in that clubhouse are just going to laugh at and move on from?
I think more the latter, Jonas. If you were in the big league environment, it would be obviously an enormous distraction. You'd be getting everything from Entertainment Tonight to the NFL Network, et cetera. But the fact is, Mets players are going to be asked about this pregame on Friday. Of course, they're off today in Atlanta on Friday. After that, what can you really distract a member of the 2016 Mets with regarding Tebow? He's not going to be there. There's not going to be a lot of natural follow-ups. So I have a hard time seeing it as a distraction and that being a problem. I do think there's going to be a lot of eye rolling. I mean, I've talked to players over the past week, current and former players who really feel like this is ridiculous that Tebow would try this. I mean, they know how hard it is to work through to make the major leagues is like one of the hardest athletic feats just right there. Even if you're the 25th man, to have climbed your way up through all those minor league levels, it's so hard to do. And I would totally understand why a player who's tried that and failed, or tried it even and succeeded, can feel like, who is this guy, Tim Tebow? And I think there'll be some of that privately. But as far as a distraction, I have a hard time seeing it being a problem.
You often hear hitting a baseball is the hardest singular thing to do in all of pro sports. Andy, we appreciate all of your insight on this topic. I know we will be speaking much more about Tim Tebow with you in the future.